In Nicaragua, where I grew up, my church would hand mothers a rose when they walked through the door on Mother's Day. I always felt a bit uncomfortable with the concept of choosing a red rose if your mother was living or a white rose if she had passed. I never wanted to be that woman walking in with a white rose, the white rose that yelled, "Look at me, my mother is dead." That's bluntly what it felt like. But when you lose your mother at the ripe age of 11, on a sleepy, sunny Saturday morning, when the airplane she is traveling in is ripped in half, your heart also gets ripped in half, and the grief is so crippling you can't get out of bed to bury her in the cemetery. Before you even know what a menstrual cycle is all about, and you don't know how to grieve, you do what any normal girl would do. You fake a smile, you take the damn rose, you stuff your tears, and you walk into church. And boy, can I beat you at the stuffing. I've been a professional stuffer for 26 years. In high school, I wished I had a mom who scolded me for getting home past curfew. I never got to call her like other girls did when they were away at college. I didn't get to go shopping with her or take her out to lunch to do girly things. I went to a formal dance once at 15 and my friend said, "You're not wearing any pantyhose without dress. Didn't your mother ever teach you any etiquette?" I speak to my heart. She wasn't there at high school nor college graduation. She didn't see me walk down the aisle on my wedding day. So you stuff and you move on. You learn to fly with just one wing. On Mother's Days, I would cope by calling my father and thanking him for being the best mom and dad a daughter could ever have. And he was. He did his best. Not perfect. I will never forget the first time I got my period. I was so excited and ran to tell him my news, but quickly the situation became terrifying. All he heard was, "You're bleeding?" His face turned pale. He became speechless. Finally, he muttered, choking back fear, "I'm taking you to the emergency room." What? Papi? No. I would be so embarrassed. This is not an emergency. I just need to go to the store to buy something. So I sat firmly on the kitchen chair, nails gripping the edge of my seat, and said, "I'm not moving from here. You can't take me." Thankfully, he called my aunt, who came to the rescue with some pads. I didn't become a mother until I was 30, when the time came for my husband Rob to hold my left leg and my stepmother Dana to hold my right. After 40 minutes of pushing, my strong-willed yet tender-hearted boy Nash ripped right into my life, literally and figuratively. When my son nursed those first few days as a newborn, and I cried at the pain, I suddenly understood my mother in the flesh in a way I never had before, just when I was beginning to forget the sound of her voice. Suddenly, she felt skin closer, not just far away in heaven. Just then, I came to understand how much my mother deeply loved me. Looking down at my son feeding, I felt this deep, warm love for him bubbling up from within my heart that I never had felt before towards anyone. God said, "What you're feeling right now, that's how much your mom loved you. That's how it feels like when I love you too. But I love you even more than that." I've always wanted to hug her one last time, hear her voice one last time, see her smile one last time. And when I think about those nights with the moon rays streaming through the window as my only companion for that awful 3 a.m. nursing feed, suddenly there she was, with me, in that room, as I breastfed my son. I felt hugged by both heaven and my mom. I'll never be able to explain how I mysteriously felt her presence and her touch like I never had since I was young. It took me back to her rocking me on a wicker chair with me pretending to be asleep, just so I could hear her hum my favorite lullaby, Hey Jude by the Beatles. Now, on Mother's Day, I cope with my loss, which will always be with me, by filling my cup with my son's kisses and hugs and fingerprint drawings. I didn't know that both grief and joy could coexist in my heart without crippling me. God has redeemed my loss through my relationship with my son like nothing ever has. But I gotta be honest with you, I still fidget at church on those days, wanting Mother's Day to be over with quickly. And I can't wait to get to heaven and have a glass of red wine with my mom and tell her how my dad almost took me to the ER when I got my period. She will probably roll her eyes and laugh.